Hello, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to Sunday's Community Club Showcase. I'm Rider Roddy Sniper with Rex Soul here on commentary. You've got NeuroCAD pushing the buttons and Beauty and Discovery running things behind the scenes. And we are here with the Baron Hero's Journey, and today is going to be all about our favorite mop, Fusoya. Rex, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, or good afternoon, rather.
Good
What are your
afternoon. How are
thoughts on
you,
this
sir?
flag set right here as we roll with our favorite Lunarian?
This is going to be a fun flag set, personally. I like the as we go through the objectives here in a second. The meta objective I think is going to make or break the beginning of this run, and I think it's going to set the tone. What would that be?
The Baron Heroes Journey Club flag set almost always has a meta objective, either optional or in this case, very much required. The runners have agreed that they will not use Fusoya's magic until he gets all of his spells. Freda Prize has a flag in place where Fusoya doesn't start off with his fullest spells. Instead, he gets a random 3 spells after every boss completed. So we're going to be kind of pumping the brakes on his full power for a while.
Absolutely. So we're looking at our objectives. We have to get 5 of the 6, but they're all our objectives up on the moon. The difference, though, is only one of those 6 objectives on the moon will give us a key item because the K moon flag is not on. So the complete Cave Bahamut will give us a key item, possibly, as it's part of the summon set, but the other 5 will not. So we're looking to get key items on the blue planet or underground.
And there is an incentive for doing some of those more difficult fights on the moon because our treasure and shops are going to be somewhat limited by the pro flag set. Not going to get in that high-end gear that we've seen in some of these seeds in recent weeks. Going to really have to focus on making do with what they have or relying on magic.
Now I see that we get the perma-join flag on, which means anybody who joins your party must stay in your party. Also the hero flag, so Fusoya is our hero. What that will do is that he will serve as our anchor agility the entire seed, and he'll also visit the mirror room by himself in the event that our runners go up to the top of Mount Ordeals. But what I do not see is the see by flag. So maybe you come across somebody and you're not quite sure whether you want them to join. You can always send them back to the Elder Tower in Messidia and pick them up later, but as soon as they join, they are part of your party.
Yeah, definitely nice to have that option when you've got a permajoin flag on, so you can take your time and pick your party up to a point. Um, and we are underway here. We will see what our first item is and who our first character option will be. It is Yang. It is Yang giving us the tower key.
The Tower Key, excellent.
Oh, and that is interesting. I believe that was an Artemis bow as part of the archer kit that we
Yes,
got.
it was. That's going to be quite useful for Soy not having magic, but he can wield a bow.
Yeah, Fusoya's strength stat is pretty good given his, you know, been around for a little while. Still pretty handy with a bow and arrow, though. And yeah, that extra strength bonus and the agility bonus early on, he is going to definitely um, be able to handle these early fights by himself.
All right, so Stodie's going in for the Baron N check immediately. And he'll find the Black Mage. Sipping some tea with Val, but he's going to take off and loot the rest of Baron here.
Yeah, might be able to do the damage with to get through that 400 damage at that spot, but not a lot of incentive at the moment to do that.
So Tybalt's still running solo here. Didn't pick up Yang or Sid that he found at Watery Pass.
Yeah, I do like this, especially that we have free characters available, so definitely want to see what your gear and what your options are before you commit to a party. You don't want to end up taking the first things that are available and lose out on the ability to take advantage of an Avenger or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely, because Sid is traditionally a slower character anyway, which would serve him well as a good anchor, but with the hero flag on, he cannot be your anchor, so all he does is slow down the rest of your party.
Upside is Sid can use that Artemis bow once we get things and get food powered up, and allow him to be able to use those magic spells that he's got. So, not the worst option if we need to take it, but definitely not one I would want to commit to right away.
Alright, so they're doing full clears here of Watery Pass. That's not something we see very often. I'm guessing it's because of the treasure flag and the shop flag, correct?
Good chance might be trying to the pro flat might be trying to just find what they can here, um, and not worry too much about it.
Dancing Dagger over on Stony's side, inside the Damson Treasury, if you will. Looks like Tibble's following suit. Stony's saving a couple seconds by exiting off the side and then coming back in the front to go release the hovercraft.
Yeah, one of
Free
those minor
character.
one of those minor time saves.
Another old player. Another old character. Tella.
Yeah, likely not going to be grabbing Tella.
Not with Fusoya, there's no need to.
Yeah, you know, Tella Tella's got his uses, but when you've already got the upgraded version in your party, yeah, no, not gonna not gonna waste a spot.
So this is a good time to probably bring up the fact that they have the distinct 10 flag on, since we've seen 4 characters already.
That is a good point. Still got a few still got a few characters, though I believe Cecil and Edge are both restricted characters, so gonna have to get behind some of these key item checks in order to be able to grab them. But still, you can get Rosa, you can get Kane, you can still get some pretty strong party members here.
Hmm. That's not one of them. That's also not one of them.
Yeah,
So
no, Stony resetting out. If he gets a spoon, may decide to go check for
there's
that, but
Kane
there's a
up on
Kane.
Hobbs, so that's not bad.
Yeah, Kane is gonna take that. I like that because with the even with the S Pro limiting the chance of getting some of the higher end gear, Kane can still get things like the Gungnir spear and do some pretty good damage. So be able to make good use of that dancing dagger as well.
Yep. So both players taking on the traditionally, I guess, called free, the non-boss bit officer and soldiers found traditionally in the Kaipo Inn in the vanilla version.
Yeah, see some
Now,
differences in approaches here. Stony just using one of the lit bolts to wipe out the soldiers, and then the officer runs away. Meanwhile, Tybalt taking more time to take out the officer and get that extra bit of experience.
so would we see, is there a benefit to going and fighting um, the waterfall boss and the Mist Cave boss just to level up your Fusoya?
Not right away because you're not going to be able to use whatever spells you get from that. You want to do it before you start going into the underground, absolutely, but it'll go a little bit faster potentially if you've with a stronger cane
But that will
or
still probably be a routing option at one point in time.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna want to check it. You're gonna want to do those bosses, because they're well the Mist Cave is relatively easy. That the waterfall boss is fast and can hit pretty hard.
DKC their Ant Lion.
Yeah, Stony realizing that's probably going to be with a Fusoya with 20 starting agility and the extra 10 agility from the Artemis bow, probably going to be faster just to take out the Dark Knight and not wait out the script.
Every second is definitely going to count on the seed. There's your hook. So you have a way underground already.
Yep. Also another character check. Um, One of those restricted characters will be behind that hook, so may see Stony go ahead and check that out. I wouldn't be very surprised to see them go through and try to take out the bosses just yet. I don't think we've got the party for that, but might peak that boss or might peak that character.
All right, Stony is going to choose to grab. Yep, looks like he's doing exactly that. Check out who we got down there.
Yeah, to your point, we've seen 5 of the characters already in this
Yes, sir.
distinct 10 flag set.
Which means you pretty much decide now if you see this character's not one you've seen already. You either take them or you're not going to have them. Because you have the 4 up in the tower right now. Cabins there in the Eblin Cave shop.
Yeah. Also, if these runners do end up with some extra money, a Soma drop wouldn't be a bad pickup there because that gives Fusoya 200 HP even and gives him another cast of nuke once you can use those spells.
And there is Demas to the waterfall. That's doubly important because again it gives Fusoya another 3 spells and gets closer to the requirement for the meta objective. But also the demist, because we're on Kano free, will allow you access to a potential key item at the Mist Village from Meridia's mom.
Great to find this early. Um, Demist hunts can be extremely aggravating, particularly if the darkness crystal ends up behind her. But fortunately, Tibble checking this early, I wouldn't be surprised to see Stony there relatively soon.
So
Yeah,
Edward
to
tries to
your
join
earlier.
Stoney's party again for a second time, and Stoney still says, no, still not ready for that. Tibble downs demist.
Very nice. Checking those 2 chests back there, getting a silent staff. I do that could come in very handy for any mages here in the early going.
Especially when you go try to slow down Fusoya, that'd be a good alternative to the Artie bow.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's see
That
what's
is
behind the Mist Village check. The pass. Not
yeah.
useful immediately.
Yeah, very nice to have. This is a flag set where you're going to be doing all your objectives on the moon, so you may end up just finishing the walk down the lunar subterranean to Aromas rather than go back to go in through the Choria pub. But not, a nice option to have.
All right, so if I wasn't mistaken, I did see Stony exit out because he ran into the monster in a box.
Yeah, it did save. I think they did save at the save point right before the character check though, so didn't have to walk all the way back in.
Mr. Cade, King and Queen of Eblin. Very, very quick and free fight.
Yeah, definitely not the spot you want to see this fight, but
No, you'd
it
much rather
is.
see that much later.
Yeah, especially again, you know, we're already starting to see a bunch of our we've seen 2 of our freer fights in the officer soldier fight, and now King Queen Evelyn start looking at those moon objectives, going, what's going to be waiting for me?
Yeah, that's those are ones you'd like to see in those harder spots like your Masamune fight, your Crystal Sword altars, because those can get pretty ugly if you find some of the other bosses there. It's always a sigh of relief to see one of those quote unquote freer bosses at those locations.
Both runners now converging on Mount Ordeals makes a lot of sense. Even with the hook, you're not necessarily going to want to take that just yet. You want to see if there's a magma key available. Plus, the fact that there's 3 bosses up here helps get that foo a few steps closer to fully operational and therefore able to satisfy the meta objective and get him casting those spells.
Yeah. Miss Farrell rose up in Ordeals. Easy selection for the party.
Tybalt disagreed.
Oh,
Ended up passing on Rosa and just sticking with the cane for now. Stony just agreeing though and said
agrees.
yes, no, best white mage in my party, and someone that can take advantage of that Artemis bow when I'm ready. Absolutely, please.
Yeah, that was the thought process I was going through as well when I saw Rosa, and it's especially if you end up finding a heroine robe, Rosa then becomes basically your Katniss of your party, because she's no longer needed as a white mage. But in the meantime, with Fusoi not being able to cast spells, she gives you a little bit of flexibility at the beginning.
I agree. I can see maybe waiting to get get closer to a full party, so Rosa can be slingshot a little bit and get some, quick, greater amount of experience off that first fight, with all the other stronger party members in the party. But yeah, I would probably be inclined to to grab her now.
So another one of our freer bosses at Ordeals 1 with the Imps. Tybalt moving on to Ordeals 2 with the Trader Baigan.
Dark Imps are definitely that free with an asterisk behind it, because while they don't have the boss bit, they can be frozen, they can be insta killed. It's also 3 melee attacks in very quick fashion. So if you're not prepared for the fight at a higher melee spot, it can be very tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. You find those just on the flip side there in Ordeals 2. That can be a rather rough fight.
Yes, yeah, Fu, up to 1,000 HP already and some pretty solid defense. So probably be able to weather it. But you are absolutely correct. With a weaker party, those back attack Dark Imps are definitely you question that free label they get.
Yep, Fusoi is out of arrows now, and the sap on Kane knocked him over for half a second. So we're switching to lit arrows now on Fusoya. We'll get to this last part of this fight.
Yeah, neither of these runners looks like they found some lit arrows and some ice arrows, which are great arrows to have in your back pocket, but not being able to. No, neither of these runners checking any of the shops to try and get those extra arrows to stock up.
All right, so my count, that is 6 for Tybalt as far as bosses go.
Yes, because Tybalt has done the
Is it 14?
waterfall.
It's 14 to get full power, correct?
Yes, because Fu will be at 1900 HP once he gets to full power, and then starts off at 500. So yes.
Okay, so you got Sand Rope at the top of Ordeals, along with the Sparkle. Ooh, that is should be fine with the Artie Bow, but not
Yeah,
when you.
these runners be very happy about that starting kit right about now.
Yeah, I was literally just faced with a Rosa hero and the Seattle play this morning, and when you're running into a no probe in that mirror room, that is not fun. Um, that Artie Bow definitely doing some work there.
Yeah, absolutely. And both these runners recognizing the power of the Artemis bow. We've seen some looting from both. We've seen some looting from both of them, uh, but not really focusing too much on it because they've got confidence thanks to that bow. You know, Stony with the still had some poison arrows left and made, 2-shot that Ogopogo.
But again, all things considered, you'd rather see Ogopogo there than some of the other spots these runners are going to have to go through in the seed.
Yeah, definitely. That,
If you're
especially,
stuck with a crossbow or an archer bow instead of an arty bow, yes, that becomes a different story. But right now, you're okay with seeing Ogopogo at the mirror room.
yeah, for sure. Um, Especially since I wouldn't be surprised to see these runners both lean a little bit into the magic in the for the end game. Given the lack of equipment to really make the melee attackers shine. So that Ogopogo, when you've got a magic heavy party, that gets very quickly.
Yeah, we got some charm arrows there in Silvera.
One of the strongest sets of arrows, and also very effective against giant enemies.
Speaking of which, do you think we'll see a D-money grind here if we get an early darkness crystal? Obviously
Uh,
depending on where Fusoya is in his magic, because he can't.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
as I say,
that's gonna be the big question for that. I could see it because, um, just checking one thing to make sure. Yeah, enemies do give experience, so I could definitely see it.
yeah, because I
Um,
think Siren, because of this the pro shop flag, I'm wondering about where they're gonna be able to find sirens in this seed. All right, Tibble going to Fabul, which is a free inn, if you will. While Stoney's going to check out who's lying in bed in Kaipo. Mylon Zed one shot with the white arrows. And we have the Prince of Eblin in Kaipo.
yeah, that's three times Edward gets told no.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Edge and Prince of Eblin. Prince of Eblin in Kaipo. But
Oh,
he still said no. Interesting.
our restreamer Beauty and Discovery, um, pointing out that the Silvera shop had star veils, and also notices and Thor rages. So if you brought up the fact of grinding up to using the D machine. Um, these runners do have another option, and that is taking advantage of a variation of low level strats called Fu and Friends, which relies a lot on reflecting Fu's nukes as well as Zeromus's counter nukes back at him. So, good knowledge for Tybalt there.
So another one of our quote unquote free fights. Baron into had Kelbrenna behind Volvalis, so Palom. Snow was way quick on that. I think they said yes. I'm not quite sure.
I think so too, which if that is the case, we'll get verification from Stony. Tybalt also deciding to let the Edge sit there. Um, I think, like our pre-streamer said, maybe looking at the fact they just have middle swords for Edge and going, no, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. And at this point in time, if you are going to employ reflect strats, that makes Palom much more valuable than Edge.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, and yeah, Stony did pick up Palom, so definitely just going to rely on that on magic for this seed. Looks like.
That was the Luca key inside Baron Inn. 8 bosses now, I believe. Or at least it will be the second one Stony Fish, this boss. The 8.
Yes, you are correct.
And I think they're both caught up here because Tibble already did the Mist Cave and the Waterfall, so they'll both be at 8 after this fight on Stony's side.
Tibble also grabbing Palom. Same. It looks like we're going to see some very similar parties here, heading back to Mysidia. Like you point out earlier, taking advantage of the fact the C5 flag isn't on, and might be picking up that Rosa.
Alright, so first we'll remember that I believe Tibble exited out the first time I saw these two. So he's going to go back. No, actually, Stony exited out when he saw these two. That's correct. But now, yeah, Tibble can walk straight ahead and round out his party. Pick up the Rosa. Demas going down on Stony's side, so undoubtedly we'll see him head over to Mist Village and pick up the pass.
Oh, good find by Tybalt there. Those silk
Yep.
webs might come in very handy because it does. We are looking at a hook and having to go do the hook route for our only underground access. So being able to throw those silk webs and put 2 casts of slow on enemies is going to be a big help potentially.
So Tybalt's going to round out his party with the Edge. He's headed back into Kaipo. So Tybalt's made his decision about his party, and it's time to go start knocking off objectives. Well, we got to find our Darkness Crystal first, but through the rest of the seed, if you will.
Yeah. And we do have a few things to do in the underground with the tower key being able to take on the super cannon room and the Luca key being able to take on the sealed cave. So uh, once they get through this, they'll have a few. We might see some diversions.
Also, food for thought, the warp glitch is on, but we can't use it because you cannot use spells with Fu outside of combat either as part of that mandatory flag or mandatory objective.
Yeah, it'll depend if you can get Palom up to level 27, 28, I think. Because he learns warp relatively late compared to everyone else.
Alright, so Tybalt's heading down the hook route. Stony doing the football defense.
Tibble seems to be pretty confident with where his party's at with his party and where they're at. Could have gone ahead and taken the monster boxes inside of Evelyn Castle to get some extra experience. Does have charm arrows and that poison axe to be able to at least take on the mad ogres in there pretty easily, but appears to be fairly happy with the in the level. So
Yep, you just sold some items to pick up a longsword to make Edge a little more viable.
yeah, long swords don't have the stat boosts that uh, the top end ninja swords have, but they're still pretty good.
Picking up several swords which can be used for no one in his party right now. They do serve as darts on a pinch, but what's the stat requirement or stat layout for the dart command, Rodney?
Dart command is the item's attack power multiplied by Edge's level. So you've got an item that's 100 attack power. Even a base level edge is doing roughly 2,500 damage.
Those will be his primary set of weapons for the foreseeable future till we get something larger. Chat saying, did we miss an adamant pool?
Yeah, both runners got the adamant rock off of the
Oh,
pool defense.
there we go. Sorry, I thought I was thinking adamant armor. I'm like, wait a second, I thought it was no adamants on this.
Oh no, that would be
I was
only
like,
way these
that's
runners are
broken.
going to do that is if they go to the pink puff room on the moon, and then we well and that'll be a very short stream.
Very, very short stream. Yeah, there are no adamant armors in this flag set, so if one pops up, we have other issues at hand. So right now, I know it's still early on with the fact that we still need to find the darkness crystal, but I'd say we're pretty evenly matched right now. Would you say?
I would say so. Both these runners taking some different paths, but getting but to about the same point. Loot seems to be pretty much on par. I haven't, they're really with T Pro. It's hard to find that really game breaking gear. In fact, we got the game breaking gear from our initial item kit with that Artemis bow. Um, so all in all, pretty even. Just a matter of when Stony goes up to Cave Evelyn.
Started doing some shopping here. While Tybalt is setting his party up for the fishing of the hook route. There's also a monster in a box chest up here.
Yeah, at minimum, I could see these runners taking the 4 Mad Ogre monster box here in the Tower of Babel, just because it's relatively good experience for this spot, and again with the gear we've got, should be pretty doable.
There's some mad ogres there. Dropping a couple of party members real quickly. This might be a little bit dicey here for Tybalt.
Yeah, Tybalt does have either an Aegis shield to protect Kane, or has a poison axe to do the higher damage. So does have options to make this a lot safer. There we go. Switching to the poison axe to do much more damage in that dancing dagger.
We have one cure 2 left. That's gonna be enough to keep Kane alive for at least a couple more swings. In the meantime, Stoney's doing the Evelyn Castle checks. Kane's up in the air to kind of save himself from a little bit of damage.
Okay.
Is that a life glitch? It is.
Yeah, it looks like that's why Tybalt wasn't attacking with those charm arrows that he picked up in Silvera. Charm arrows are 4 times effective on these Mad Ogres since they are giants, but trying to get that extra experience on Kane, which will be very nice to have, but makes the fight a lot more dangerous.
Yes, it does, as we see. Bring up the Black Mage. And, oh!
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get that experience on that party, but unable to keep at least Palom alive.
Alright, so on Stoney's side, the Strength Ring off the Lamia and Black Cat fight.
That will help a lot because there's not going to be quite as much of the strength boosting gear in this flag set. Black belts, we saw the bandanas in the gated shop here in Cave Evelyn. So gonna be at a premium for Edge for Kane at least, because Edge does start out with it since we have vanilla equipment. So nice to get that strength ring as well to help that out.
Now, there's a siren in one of the boxes there in Eblin Castle as well. That's going to be quite valuable at this point. Although, do you see our runner, since we do have edges in our party, taking some off the alerts in the tower?
I could see it. You're in a situation where you're gonna want to, you know, like you pointed out earlier, D machine is an option depending on when we get the darkness crystal, but the sirens may getting a handful of sirens may end up being a little bit faster in the long run.
Stonifying a dwarf axe in the throne room chest in Eblin Castle, which allows Kane to be backroad now.
Ooh.
And Tibble's having to back out again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That seemed to be in a little better situation with that fight, but apparently not. Seeing something happened that didn't really fit. So backing out and
He's slowing it
lowering
down.
the
Looks like
battle
we get it a
speed.
third try. Just put the yeah, missed target is life glitches. It looks like.
Yeah, that understandable.
Yep.
You know,
So Staleman and the skeletons go down on Stony's side. All we get is a silver apple. Or sorry, gold apple.
yeah, but very nice to see that Palom has virus on Stony's side already. So that means that he's going to be in pretty good shape as far as being able to help out with some damage early on.
Alright, so we got the Artie Bow and Charm Arrows on Fu on Tybalt's side, and the Poison Axe on Kane. We have Mad Ogres on both screens right now. Life glitches on both sides. Uh-oh. A little early on the life potion there on Temple's side again.
Yeah, Kane doing it does best and betraying expectations.
Yep. Blink for Rosa. Stony's side. Artie Bow again. 2 Artie Bows now. Bring some party members back to life.
Yeah, at least try to get that experience on Rosa. You know, this will be worth the time and effort that Tybalt's put into this fight, because yeah, getting Palom up to virus, and Rosa should be just shy of Blink, but at least getting Berserk to get more out of Kane or Edge. So
Yeah, that was 11 levels for each of those. That was worth the time.
yeah, because even with resetting a couple times to get things the way you wanted them, Stony got roughly the same amount of experience in the time that, or Tybalt got the same amount of experience roughly the time it took Stony to full clear Eblin Castle.
Yep. That instant injury, Tibble just found a mute knife. Which would have been fantastic in that fight.
Yeah, being able to have Edge join in and help take out some of the Mad Ogres would have been very nice, but see, the game, like, the randomizer likes to do that. I don't know how many times I've gotten a rune axe after a difficult Asura fight.
Of course. Alright, so we get a first look at Hook 1. As we're going to change up our order of party here. Leviathan.
Gonna heal up first.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and use our white mage here. Oh yes, we're also taking the Artie bow off of Fusoya.
Yeah, good call. Getting the lit arrows and the Artemis bow on Rosa. Um, won't be enough. Won't be enough to set the agility to RA1 and guarantee the first hit on Leviathan, but definitely going to help help is going to help slow it down a little bit.
Yep.
Because this first fight here is very fast.
That's the Eblin Cave monster in a box. The Staleman down over on Stony's side.
See that
Samurai.
T-Pro.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Tybalt, this spot does not have very good magic attack, so those ice twos are mostly just going to be a little bit of a tickle, but you know, is going to be in a bit of a race to try and keep ahead of the big waves.
Yes, absolutely. Here comes another one of those big waves, which is a quarter of the character's max HP. So while you can't guarantee how much the Ice 2 is going to do against you, you can plan for those big waves.
Yeah. Tybalt getting the party set up, getting the party going, and being able to get through that fight first try.
Hook 2 being Mom Bomb, that's not going to be great. We're going to go we're going to go heal up and everything beforehand. Well, actually not heal up, we're going to go ahead and get set up and save.
Yeah, gonna set up and save because there is a free heal before that spot because Rubicante is such a nice fiend. The Mom Bomb fight. Yeah, don't blame the safety save at all on on Tybalt's side for sure.
Yes, I have some PTSD from seeing Mom Bomb at Hook 2, by the way. So what is our approach here as a runner going up against Mom Bomb at Hook 2?
I think that we don't have the we've got the damage to get through this fight, or at least get to the second phase. As you can see here, that first punch on Kane hitting for a decent amount, but not a crippling amount. I know Tybalt had a Silk Web. I would throw that or have Rosa cast Slow to just give the party a little bit more breathing room. I don't think she's got Blink yet, which would be very helpful to keep those melee attackers up and running.
So the play here is just to get the Mom Bomb through to the second phase as quickly as possible.
Yeah, then you only have to deal with 6 smaller bombs that will hit hard after an explosion that hits the party for a decent amount of damage, but it is a little bit more manageable.
Alright, we see Edges down. Bring him back up. So on Stony's side, he elected to Berserk Kane, whereas we saw Tybalt Berserk Edge before. Unfortunately, he succumbed to too much damage. Oof. Kane lived life at the edge with 9 hit points.
All you need is one.
Yep. Just get him up in the air. Yeah, absolutely. The Plur Flag's really showing, as Beauty mentioned in chat, Mutant Knife and Blizzard Spear on Canes.
Yeah, no,
Not what you're used to seeing.
it'll get you there. It'll just take a lot longer than you'd like, and I do think Stony has a bit of an advantage with that ability, with that blink on Rosa to help keep this party protected. Blink is a wonderful spell. Uh, Gives you 2 free hits without taking any damage.
As we
And
saw Mom Bomb hit Palom twice in a row to take the
you
blink
know,
right back off.
that's fine. It's not ideal, but it kept them up and keep able to pass these quake spells. So
That's another thing too. I don't believe the Palom on Tybalt's Eye is Quake yet.
no, which is
So
gonna.
that's.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say between the blink and the quake, that gives Stony a clear advantage, especially when we get to the second phase of this fight.
And that's where I was gonna head. That once you get to that last phase and you get to those 6 bombs, Quake is, you can see Stony just kind of waiting out the explosion here and preparing for that quake.
And I saw I took the extra second. For those of you who are not aware, the the animation goes through but will not catch up to your cursor. If you cast that too quickly, you're casting Quake on 1 bomb, which is a real feels bad moment.
Yep, heads up by Stony, not getting too much into it, and the extra fights helping Stony get through this a little bit faster. So Tybalt was working through the Lower Babel, or not Lower Babel, through the Tower of Babel first. Stony took the time to go fight in Cake Castle Eblin as well, and able to get through a little bit faster.
Let's get our peek at the top of the tower. It's going to be either Rubicante or the Elements fight. And here's where you're really going to see Tybalt struggle with not having Quake.
Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Won't be great. Decent damage with that.
Is it worth casting Flame on Edge? Actually has Blitz now because we just.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's necessarily your worst play here. Especially since you do have the Mute Knife to get an extra 5 Wisdom, so that will help a little bit. But looks like Tybalt's just relying on the melee damage just to get them down one at a time, which is fine. If they start hitting the explode phase for the smaller bombs, then Tybalt's got enough party members up that he can survive.
All right, so Stony immediately going up the tower as he lands. We're checking all these boxes. There's another Silk Web.
Yeah. Also an Hourglass 2 for Stony as well, which is nice to have because still have the Baron Guards outstanding, and can also utilize that to help with potentially taking a fight or two with the Sirens that he has.
All right, so electing to just take out the first alert. We had mentioned we weren't sure if they're going to try to. Yeah, lit arrows, exactly. We weren't quite sure if they're going to try to steal from the alerts to get some sirens.
Yeah, but I think the real prize of this tower might just end up being that cursed ring that Stony picked up.
Mm-hmm.
That will allow him to bring Fusoya's agility down to 5 and definitely make some of these lunar fights a lot more comfortable at the expense of Fu's ability to cast. It's Fu's casting stats, but he's still going to be able to do some pretty good work with Nuke once he gets there.
All right, so it looks like we got a stop on there, so it looks like we are going to pick up some sirens. So that stop will keep the dialogue from shooting across the screen 52 times while he's picking up some sirens.
Tybalt is following suit, having gotten through the Mom Bomb fight. Now going to be looking like he's going to be making the same climb up the tower. And it
Electing
does
not to
make
use
and it
cabin.
does and it makes a lot of sense. The tower key opens up another very easy boss to take out. The runners are both 2 fights away from having Fu fully powered, so definitely don't blame them for coming up here and taking that.
Yes, beauty points out in chat. Tibble down to 1 life pot. Um, Looks like we're electing to forego all of the chests, so we're just gonna go straight up to the top. I think Tibble does feels a little rushed after having the difficulties on the upper half of the tower.
Uh, maybe a little bit, but may also just be pretty confident. And, 2 long swords and a poison axe for Kane um, should be enough to get him up to this point, or get him through this fight, and probably through that Rubicante fight or Elements fight.
This means that Fu on both sides will be at max power when they get done with the tower. Stony electing to go all the way to the top first, or Tibble to the cannon room first.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't make much of a difference because they needed the 2 fights rather than just one. Otherwise, you would have probably seen both runners go do the super cannon room first.
Alright, so explain to me what Tybalt is doing here.
Uh, this is the half tower play, the Penguinator special. Just deciding that I don't want to deal with Rubicant. I don't really have the ability to get through the HP at this spot, or elements as well. So just gonna say we'll leave the top of tower, and if the darkness crystal is there, oh well. So definitely making a bit of a gamble here. But I do appreciate this. This is not the easiest spot. The magic won't be too scary here for Stony fighting this Rubicon. As you can see, 20 damage. But yeah, it's still a relatively slow fight.
Okay. Glare on edge doesn't even drop him. Yeah, that's really weak on magic damage. Coming up to be able to cast Nuke with Fu will practically make up all. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Nuker
just need
Ice
one more
3.
boss.
Yeah, Nuker Ice 3 will make a very short work of this spot.
Now, conversely, because Stony will have Fu online, these fights down here, are they going to be easier?
Yeah, Stony will have more options as far as if he wants to take the fights here in the Fey March, um, because Nuke, Blink, all of Fu's really good, Wall, all of Fu's really good spells. Finally able to use them all. So could save some time there if there's something that he feels comfortable taking. And we do get the speech out of Rubicon on Stony's side, so very
Rat
nice.
tail.
Getting the rat tail as well.
Ooh, the Bahamut and Sisters. That Bahamut will be free in about 1 fight, which also means that Stony will have the advantage here.
Well, Stony also has 7 Star Veils, so yeah, maybe going to save up right now, use a cabin and go take that for the last fight.
Oh, that's right. I didn't see the 7-star bell. That's correct. 1 life pot. How do we play this?
Stony not.
And this is why I don't. This is why I don't rename my characters. This is exactly why I don't rename my characters. So Tybalt is at odds with himself here, trying to figure out what he wants to do here.
Yeah,
Looks like he's going to
maybe
go
just
after it.
might have thought that he didn't save and just wanted to make sure that he did have that because always appreciate that moment of did I save? Did I not save?
Yeah. So we're going to slow everything down here as best we can.
Yeah, Tybalt doesn't have the curse string that Stony had, which would have made this a lot simple, which would have made this a little bit easier. But yeah, should be able to get Star Veils up on everybody here. That'll be good enough to get things going. 7 Star Veils should be enough to get through the fight, I think.
Now, is this a situation where he may have also been counting the fact that he can only put Star Veils up a second time on 3 of those? I don't think we need to have that happen, though, would we?
Not well. I think it's 32,000 at this spot, so we'll need one more turn potentially beyond that.
Another Blarg.
That's roughly. That should just be over 21,000 now.
Stony making his way down through the Fame Arch Cave.
Tybalt wisely checking the status of the wall by using the check. It's going to use an item to see the status on the lower right hand side of the menu. Very good call there.
I would definitely concur after what happened to me earlier today.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be in that situation where there you go. You see those walls are starting to drop now. The edge wall should be enough.
And Food's going to get the experience anyway as the hero.
Yep, one of the challenges of the hero flag is you just can't just look at your hero and say, yeah, you're just gonna stay down for the entire seed.
Yep, and Kane up in the air survives as well, so Food's at full power now. White shirt.
Yeah, very nicely done by Tybalt there. Lower on resources overall. Getting through that fight using only 4 of those 7-star veils. So very nicely done there. Yeah, not gonna worry about the Maga Sisters for now.
Yeah, I don't think that's a must take.
It's a very speedy fight. It's a very high magic spot. So, yeah.
All right, so Tybalt is going to check out the Tomra shop. Some illusions.
Hey, those have been really nice for that mom bomb.
Yeah, it would have been.
Those are a free blink cast.
Dwarf axe because Tybalt and a curse ring.
Yep.
So Tybalt is going to end up benefiting either way because he'll get both the dwarf axe and the curse ring that Stony got in Evelyn Castle.
Yeah, no, very good find there in this shop. Downside is that 66,000 is a lot of money on a T-Pro flag set, but should be able to get there before the end of the before they get down to the underground.
Narcotics investigator. Dun dun. No, just me. Cool. Stony coming back up to the blue planet. Faded Fame Arch. Gonna go turn the rat tail.
Marsh didn't check Sheila 1, so definitely looking at that rat tail going, I'm really curious to see what's there.
Tybalt going to Dwarf Castle? Yes, sir. Rat Tail's the Baron Key.
Yeah. The trail continues for Stony, and Tybalt taking advantage of the free dwarven healing pot in the back of the cave.
So Stone is at 9 key items, if my counting ability still does not fail me. As that Rat Tail turned into the Baron Key.
Yep, you are correct.
And Tybalt did not get the Rat Tail because he did not finish the tower. Stony also now doing Dwarf Castle.
Like I said, that's probably going to be That's going to probably be the last thing Tybalt checks at this point. Making very much making a decision to avoid that fight and sit. At the top of the tower. I don't see Tybalt going back unless he absolutely has to.
Let's hope for his sake nothing's hiding there in Baron Castle. The boomerang on Stony purchased the boomerang. I don't believe Tybalt did. That's significant because that allows Stony to back row edge.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, even worth picking up, even with the edge and the cane probably going to be stuck in the front row to protect Rosa and Palom on fights with characters in the back row that will let him hit their full damage as well, not just from the back row of the party.
Let's say Tybalt did buy a rang. All right, cool.
We have a Lunar Sparkle up here. It is pale dim, so perfect that Tybalt now has the ability to use those non-elemental spells.
Nuke being pretty much the skeleton key for any boss fight going forward.
Yeah, no, Nuke, very powerful. You see, doing roughly 5,000 damage on this fight. Do you like? Okay, that explains part of how Tybalt approached the Bahamut fight the way he did. He's focusing on keeping Rosa and Palom down, so he can give them a slingshot later on.
Okay, that makes sense.
Either that or just not wanting them taking up time through actions because.
Yeah. Or, vanilla Golbez. That will help too. That will definitely help Tybalt now.
Yeah, Tybalt only going to be taking one of the Shadow Dragon attacks versus Stony having to sit through 3 of them.
It's fortuitous planning there on Tybalt's part.
Yeah,
or lucky, depending on which way you look at it.
Yeah, neither of these runners were able to do anything in the Tower of Zot, so didn't get that bit of information from the seed. So, sometimes the luck works in your way.
Yes, it does. All right, so Tybalt's now got a 4-5 second advantage on this fight.
Yeah, and also Tybalt keeping Fusoya and Kane up while Stony's got Rosa and Palom, which not gonna should be okay with the magic attack. Yeah, Golbez doesn't do much here, but
why?
As you can see here, one nuke and Tybalt's through.
Now it did bring Fu up, and I guess my question is, well, why?
Why not?
Because he automatically gets experience. Why not bring Kane or Edge up?
Oh, I thought you were referring to Golbez's question.
Oh, yes. I was using that twofold.
Yes. May have just may have been doing it in case Palom probably picked Fu just in case Palom got hit with an attack before he can get the
Okay.
quake off. That way we had another stronger damage dealer versus as opposed to uh, Kane or Edge who are going to take a few more turns to get through it.
All right, so I didn't see what that was on the necklace. The pan is in the sealed cave. A defense sword on the necklace.
That's really nice because that's Kane's probably that's Kane's you know tied with the White Spear for his second best weapon really. So very nice to have there.
All right, so this helps Stony again because Stony did not take the Sylph Cave yet, right?
Correct.
But
Neither
also
runner.
he has 10 key items now for that pan.
Yeah, depending on what's through here, Tybalt will get it through Sheila potentially. But yeah, no, Stony will already have those 10 key items in hand, which does make that Baron key loom a little bit larger here because there are two checks there, and we still need that Darkness Crystal.
All right, Stony checking out the Tomra shop, finding out it's dud. At least the item shop is. Meantime, Tybalt, here comes the bonk.
Much like my cabinetry, having a hard time finding the pan he's looking for.
That's definitely a problem a lot of us face. There's your legend sword.
Yep, not an objective in this seed, but may see Tybalt go there to get Fu a better weapon as well as maybe get a better have access to a slightly better shop on the T Pro. Yeah, on the T Pro flag set, you do have to this shop does get some of the higher end gear. You may find sirens and and hourglass twos and other things that you normally wouldn't find available even in the underground.
So we see Kobold doing his little dance, heading back out. Full moon, black shirt, crystal armor. I did not see what the fourth one was.
Yara.
Tiara. It's a Triton knife.
Yep, that is Fu shares his super weapon pool from Final Fantasy IV Advance with Palom and Porum. So that is Palom's item, but so you may see Tybalt give that to the kid. Stony following suit. Don't blame him. Very, very good decision.
Tybalt heading to the Baron shop.
Might be looking for those life potions.
Probably. That's going to be my guess. Somebody thought about picking up a black shirt, but decided against it.
Yeah, the only thing in that shop that was probably really exciting since if they hadn't found the boomerang in Dwarf Castle that full moon, I would expect to see the runners pick up a full moons for that back row. Um, could have seen a tiara purchase for Rosa since while it boosts the wisdom stat as opposed to her willpower stat, it does do a lot to help her magic resistance.
Alright, so both runners doing the Sheila checks. Sheila 1 was our spoon, but we did not find the darkness crystal.
But that is 10 key items for both runners, so any
So
experience will be doubled. Now it'll be a
Tybalt,
question of where Tybalt ends up going. Stony probably going to check Baron.
yeah, I was gonna say Tybalt at this point in time is left with just that. Oh, yeah, just that one check because he already checked the sealed cave.
Does have a very unpleasant Magus Sisters fight as well.
Oh, that's right. We just forgot about that because no one ever does takes that fight. Correct.
Yeah,
That's where the
it's a,
darkness crystal is going to be. Just watch.
let's say it's a little bit nicer now that both runners can anchor Fu, which is going to be
Mhm.
very helpful against the speed of that spot. They've got Quake on Palom. They've got a Mute Knife on Edge. Um, it's not going to be a fun fight, but it is somewhat more doable, particularly if they do like you suggested earlier and steal some sirens and get a little bit stronger.
So Stoney's taking advantage of the Baron Key and going to check out some shops. So far, nothing on the weapon side. A couple rune rings.
Yeah, it's probably about the last thing you really want at this point in time. The last thing you need as far as what
Last
we've
thing you need.
seen, as far as things you're actually going to want to buy. Uh, nice little boost to our magic users there.
And there's our life potions that Tibble's been trying to find. They're in Aggart. So which does he choose? Choose the tower?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
looks like it. And again, I don't blame him. The Magus Sisters fight is probably doable, but not a lot of fun. Or,
Oh,
well,
well.
changing course.
They did. Did he drop a save there, though?
I was going to ask you that same question
I
because
think he did. I think he
I
dropped.
don't believe I saw it.
Interesting. Stony not putting the curse ring on Fu at this point in time.
You generally don't want a slow anchor on overworld fights, um, because then that actually speeds up the enemy boss versus allows the part with a faster anchor. You can have the party take more actions before the boss can take effect or take their actions.
Makes sense. Um, yeah, Borzoi. I would imagine that's why he did. We weren't sure if he did drop a save or not. Yeah, obviously, he would want to drop a save there in case he runs into trouble here with the Magus Sisters. He can just reset back out, and he's already right in front of the tower.
Yeah.
And just these pro runners run through their menus so fast sometimes that I struggle to keep up.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed that one too. So if you did drop the save, then that was very efficient running on menuing on Tybalt's side.
Evil Wall at Baron 2.
This is a fight I'm glad to be taking now rather than in the early part of the seed,
Yes,
but
sir.
not too bad.
Alright, so one thing we did not take into account is little Mindy there is going to hit like a truck still at the queen spot. So until you get her down, um,
Yeah,
that's not going to be a fun time.
does get the Berserk on Edge. Nice 5,000 damage there. Okay, yeah. Oh, Edge. Picking the right target both times, and that should.
That should do it.
It's going to depend on if he starts targeting Cindy before the remedy. That's not helpful.
That's not ideal. Get it
Okay,
off.
missing another attack.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
There we
that
go,
should
there
do
we
it.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
all right.
nice. Alright, Baron Castle's going to yield a Murasame sword, which is not a key item, but a welcome item nonetheless.
And Tybalt getting rewarded with a key item of his own, the
Ah,
Twin Harp.
this could be interesting.
Yes, this is gonna be a clutch dodge by Edge there from that last hit because relatively low HP could have fallen to Cindy. Um, this is gonna be this is gonna be how the sea kind of breaks, I think. You know, is it here in the basement or is it behind that twin harp?
You don't see this happen too often, but oh, let's hope this is Water Hag and not the Gauntlet.
It is
Okay.
water hag. That's actually I would if I'm Stony right now, I'm kind of disappointed because I much rather would see the gauntlet here than waiting for me at the
At the
moon.
Crystal Sword Altar.
Yeah.
The only reason that I'd be glad to see the Water Hag here rather than the Gauntlet, I think Stony would have reset out if he saw the Gauntlet here. And if this ends up paying off as a key item, like the Darkness Crystal, then he'd been stuck going back to Feymarch.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I could have seen. I could I could have seen him going and sticking to the gauntlet.
There's your Earth Crystal,
Oh,
though.
the trail continues for
Yes,
Stony.
it does.
So
That
we have two key items left: the pink tail and the darkness crystal that are unaccounted for. Um, we have two spots left, or three spots. We have here Cave Magnus. We have Tower of Zot, which I'm sure Stony is going to be beelining, and then Cave Bahamut, like you mentioned at the very beginning of the seed.
that's not where Darkness Crystal could be, though.
Right, forgot that. So
Yeah.
it's a 50-50 shot here. Thank you.
that doesn't
I outsmarted
quite
myself.
work.
I was sitting
Yes,
here like, oh
exactly.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
doesn't quite work. So yeah, we'll see Stony probably go to check the treasure chests first, then go up. We'll see. Um, yep. So I'll take note of what he's going to pick up here. In the meantime, why don't we take a break and kind of rest our voice for a minute?
All right, sounds good. We'll let all these people listen to be entertained by the dulcet tones of DJ Spoony B.
All right. Now I'm kind of worried because chat's saying it was Dragon's Song for FF14, but that was Science Theme from FF6. Or
Well, I
was it?
don't know. I don't know about that, but I do know that Tybalt has gotten the darkness crystal. So the
Yes.
Magus sisters were the answer.
All right. So that definitely puts Tybalt in the driver's seat. Stoney's still got to go through 2 fights and a cutscene. 2 cutscenes technically.
And then get the bad news that they've got to go fight the Magus sisters.
Yep.
So now Tybalt going through, getting ready to raise the big whale. Going to be making some preparations here. Um, does lead to the question of what awaits our runners once they get to the lunar subterranean in Cape Bahamut.
What are we? What's Tybalt doing here?
That is the Baron step manipulation. You mentioned D machines earlier.
Yep.
We're gonna go see some D machines. So Tybalt using the using a using this to see what the encounter table is based on the number of steps that it's taking before he gets his encounter. And then once he figures that out, once he gets that number, he'll know how many more encounters he has to see down here. We'll save, or will not save, excuse me. We'll turn off the enemy encounters and then go to the giant, and the next fight he chooses to fight up there will be the one he needs.
Perfect. Beauty, yeah. So Dragon Song is a different. It's similar, but it's not quite the science theme. Science theme is in the Doma Castle stuff in 14, but Dragon Song is a very similar theme, so I can see why that would be heard in that tune, with it being as a MIDI file. So, all right. So Stony now is faced with the decision of going down to Feymarch, because that's the only check he has left, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Which Stoney has made very good work of this seed so far to pretty much full clear the blue planet in an hour and 20 minutes.
Now the question's going to be: Stoney's got all the sirens from the tower, where Tibble does not. So Tibble's going to go do D-money grind. Stony, I'm guessing, will drop his sirens. With Fusoya, is he going to drop them on LST to get the gold dragons?
Probably just, I would say probably just take the egg fight in the
Okay.
underground. Um, Reason being is that you really want to have hourglass twos to freeze the gold dragons to make the fight safer. It depends on how much Stony wants to grind. Probably going to feel a little bit behind after this long chain ending up with nothing of value.
Could be the Pinktail. Doesn't give you
Yeah,
adamant armor in this, but
about the only thing that you could get right now on that would be nice is either Avenger or Dragoon Spear.
here's your Pinktail. I guess we'll find out. Maybe.
Uh, yeah, I could see Stony just decide,
I
nah,
mean,
I don't care that much.
the hovercraft's already over there, so he may go ahead and check it.
Yeah, and he is, since the hovercraft is there.
Already arrows.
I'll take that. I'll take that. It is dragon
Good.
slaying gear. We've got a few dragons unaccounted for. The most concerning of which is the wyvern.
Yes, absolutely. We are on the Witchburn flag, which means we will see a different attack. The Mega Nuke.
Yeah, which is a little bit of reprieve from on that opening strike, but then the wall and the nukes start coming, and that's still pretty scary.
Especially at the speed at which they'll be seeing the Wyvern.
Yeah, this is where both runners having that cursed ring will come in handy if they do run into wyvern. That will keep the fight from being way too fast. So definitely glad that both those runners here have found that. So Tybalt is
Stony.
in the D machine fight. It did the manipulation did work. Um, one thing I really like, has Fu in the center slot, as well as putting the Triton dagger on him. What that's going to do is, it still has the curse ring as well, so that's going to set the party order. So he's got a nice rhythm to the fight, but also make it so Fu doesn't miss those weak casts. So very, very nice setup here.
All right, so Stoney's going to go ahead and enter the fight now. Can you slow the D machine similar to how you would the Mac Giants? Ready?
Yeah, that's the same spot. It's the same. It's the searcher is basically reviving the same character that was knocked down or was knocked out earlier. So yes, it would work the same way. So Tybalt seems to be opting for the stopped cast because that's a little bit more, you know, but it's better to avoid all the fire attacks rather than take only one every turn.
Now I did see we had coffins picked up. That was on Stoney's side, though, I believe.
I don't believe. Yeah, coffins were in the. There was a number of coffins. There were a number of coffins in the treasury. I don't believe that works in the D machines though.
Very similar to the Gold Dragon in that respect.
But very nice by Tybalt there, getting the double.
Double life glitch.
Yeah, using ice two there. Ice two has a slow cast time, so able to get that. With the delay in the spell going off after Fu casts the weak and Palom getting his spell off, able to get those two life potions queued up and get a bonus D machine here. Very nicely done.
Alright, so Stoney's got the Twin Harp now. At this point in time knows that's where he's going to find his Darkness Crystal as well. So the question is he going to go ahead and do his Siren grind down here before he goes back up to the blue planet? I would imagine so.
I would think so.
Oh! Stoney had not taken the Bahamut fight yet.
Oh, that's right. Did fade that earlier.
So we still got a minute.
Yeah, should be able to get through this relatively quickly. Looks like he's going to be pushing. It looks like they're going to be pushing damage more than Tybalt did. Probably still going to want to start getting some of those star veils up though, or walls up. Yeah.
As much damage as they're pushing out, not going to push enough to be able to kill Bahamut before he casts his first Mega Nuke. He probably won't have to see a second one, but
yeah, it'll take less time overall because we won't have to be cycling through the counts, all as many counts.
So now is he going to send Kane up in the air?
No, I think Kane's berserked and also got the first.
Oh, that's right.
The first wall. Missing a life glitch there, unfortunately, but does have that bonus one from the double earlier, so yeah, it does look like this is going to be it. Gonna put weak up on the searcher to get them down to 1 HP, get edge up, and call it a grind.
All right, 713,000.
That'll do.
That'll be okay.
to say, I think that I know I saw his Rosso is at 23, level 23, I think. So yeah, should be well above Nuke and White on those characters.
There's Cure 4 and White.
And the most important part of the D machine grind, turning encounters off afterwards, so you can make sure that you don't get attacked and lose all that experience.
Do you just forfeit at that point in time?
You don't forfeit, you just cry for a few seconds, and then probably just go fight the bosses on the lunar subterranean.
Oh, that's probably a good good time to point out the fact that the vanilla giant flag is on.
Yeah, that is a factor. Wow, Tybalt's gonna
Oh,
be in scary HP,
oh,
scary range here.
especially if that's Wyvern. Okay,
Yeah, no, still not great.
still not
A lot of
great,
hit
but
points to chew through. Already
yeah, good.
starting to get.
Yeah, he came up here for the D machine grind, but with the vanilla giant flag on, he has to finish the giant now.
Yeah, I missed that flag, so nice catch there.
So while D-Lunars is not a terrible fight here, we still don't know who's behind in the second fight.
Oh, make no, it's a terrible fight just because it's gonna take a long time. Make no mistake, this is not gonna be fun.
65,000. Is it evenly distributed?
I believe in this case it is split between the two evenly. Yes. There's some fights where it doesn't, like the Magus sisters. I think Cindy gets the majority. Um, Guess we'll take a break as we get a reprise of Science Theme.
All right. All right, so Stony's going to be rewarded with the Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, and Tipple getting through the first breath attack, getting one of the D lunars turned into a frog.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. This is a long fight.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not the hard it's not the most difficult fight. As you can see, only 300 damage with those virus casts, so not as scary as it could be. It's just tedious.
Yeah, beauty. I forgot to mention that because we were still listening to the song when you typed that in. Yeah, the curse ring doesn't allow the quad nines because his magic power is going to be quite nerfed.
Yeah, well, Fu is very strong overall. Doesn't have the same level of magic casting stats as the other magic users.
All right, so Stony still hasn't used his sirens. If you're Stony, are you just going to go ahead and do a full clear of the moon and get your levels that way?
I think so because Stoney's got Rosa and Palm in the upper 30s already. So with the boosted experience from having more than 10 key items, I think that's going to be the play. You start from the ribbon room, or you start from the top down and you just start clearing bosses and get the experience that way.
Well, I was going to ask you check Bahamut first to see who's there.
Certainly, certainly worth it. And you could use one of those sirens in that hourglass they found in Lower Zot and take the gold dragon, take at least one gold dragon fight to help out. So certainly an option as well. Um, I would probably be more inclined just to dive to Lunar subterrain, but Stony making a perfectly reasonable choice and going ahead and taking the fight here as well.
All right, so Tybalt is out of the D-Lunar fights, but he's out of cabins. He's now down to the tents, which isn't terrible, but that does present its own set of challenges.
Yeah,
Because the tent only,
only getting 100 MP back doesn't feel good.
especially when you've been dropping those nukes like crazy. That is the Dark Elf, which is not a bad fight if you can get past the first phase. And Artie Bow and Artie Arrows will help that.
Yeah, that'll definitely go a long way and making
Heroin
Rosa.
Robe.
That's a yeah. Stony getting a good setup for the Dark Elf here. Rosa is going to make very quick work of that second phase. Um, Tybalt only has 23 or 25,000 damage to chew through here, but
Oh,
it is a race.
yep, it sure is. Oh, that's a feels bad because he can't leave either. Dart in the
Good,
spoon.
yeah, good call.
Yep, good call on that play. Oh, let's get this off.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was that was not good.
Fortunately, Odin does take a little bit of time after those first three swings to go for the Zantetskin attack, so you do have a little bit of time. Especially, I don't know if Tybalt threw a silk web up or got a slow cast off. That is a good way. Those are good ways to just give yourself a little bit more time on that fight.
All right, so now Tybalt is ready to start doing his checks up on the moon.
So Tybalt spent a lot of time on that grind and getting out of the giant because of the vanilla flag. However, Tybalt is very well prepared for anything that is waiting for him on the lunar subterranean at this point.
Yeah, is there a particular reason why? I know that the dragon side of the Dark Elf does not have a lot of hit points. The reason we're not using weak with Fusoya here?
May have just forgotten about it. Figured that with the Artemis arrows, it wasn't gonna take that much longer. Um, but yeah, no, to your point, you can make that fight a little bit faster by using weak on the second phase to bring the HP down to a one hit range for any of these characters. But Stony does get through that fight, gets a Dragoon Spear for the reward.
Alright, so who have we not seen? We haven't seen Octomammoth. We haven't seen the Gauntlet. Kenyazo. Lugay.
Plague, Wyvern, I don't
Asura.
think we've seen. Asura, yeah.
CPU.
No, CPU was Zot 1, I think.
Oh, that's right,
The
that's right.
Magus Sister Spot.
Yep. And then the Baron Guards, we saw them too, didn't we?
I don't believe we saw the
No, it is the
Baron
Baron Guards. We
Guards. We
saw
saw
the
the Officer Soldier from the Kaipo Guards, but I don't believe we saw the other one.
Alright, so that's who we've got waiting for us on the moon. All but one of those. Oh, but 2. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We still have the package, the boss we haven't seen. I think that's the only boss spot we haven't seen at this point in time. Outside of these lunar subterranean bosses. Oh, we haven't seen the Silicate boss because both runners use the warp glitch to break in.
Yep.
There's Tybalt using weak. One shot will take care of the Dark Elf's dragon form.
Alright, so we're gonna go first look at the Mura Altar boss.
Yeah, this is the routing that I would likely be taking. Start at the Marasme altar and then go down to the Ribbon Room, the White Spear altar, and the Samne altar just get my 5 objectives that way.
Forgot there were coffins in the treasury.
Yeah, no, that'll
Oh, this is.
definitely help.
They're your Baron guards.
And there they go.
There they go.
Now, I don't know if Tybalt has the coffins, but I do know that Tybalt does have the Hourglass too, so should be able to.
He also cast Stone with Fusoy in the middle spot.
Yeah, had the backup, but. Or yeah, there's a lot of options to get through this, but our restreamer pointing out, though, and that's why I got distracted a little bit, Life Glitch would have been big for Stony right there.
Yep, good call. I think Stony at this point in time is because he had to go back down to do Fey March and that Baron kit check wiped out for him might be a little rushed right now.
Yeah, I can see that it's just trying to push through. There should be enough experience left with the bosses that we have. You know, Luge is probably the only boss that's going to not give full HP at this point. If we're accounting correctly for all of our bosses, so just a
You
matter
really
of.
don't want to see him either because, well, I don't think the Gauntlet does not either, does it? Or does it
I
end up
think
adding up to about the same?
I think the Gauntlet will be pretty good still as far as the experience, because you've got unless it's the Gauntlet in the Ribbon Room of the White Spear where you get the 2 trickers, that they don't give that much experience, but you still have the dragons.
They're stoned by Palom.
Yeah, getting through this fight very quickly as well.
This is neck and neck at this point in time.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think that once we get to this next set of bosses, that's where we'll start to see Tybalt's time spent grinding start to pay off. I think that's gonna shorten those. That's got a chance of shortening those fights, where Stony still gonna have to worry about keeping party members up to try and get Palom and Rosa up to nuke and White. So I would say that Stoney's a little bit further along, but Tybalt's going to be charging up very quickly behind him.
Yeah, I'm not excited to see Plague or Wyvern come up here. There's Octomammoth, that's pretty much an easy fight as well. It's going to hit hard.
Yeah, pretty hard, yeah.
It's going to hit hard, but your Lit 3 with Fusoya is going to do a lot of work.
Yeah, Palom should have that too at this point, so Stony wisely using a faster Quake spell to start off with, because that will start causing Octomam to lose the tentacles and slow down. So good call there.
We're berserking up all. Well, Rosa, of course, because she has the heroine robe still. And the already arrows and the already bow, so.
Oh, yes. Tybalt about ready to make the best use of the siren that he possibly can.
Yep. So, with the Artie arrows and Artie bow, that's going to help out with plague. Because of the weakness to the bows. Kane has a Dragoon Spear on Stony's side, which also helps out against plague.
Or just an
Ooh,
Avenger.
or just that, that helps.
That
Dragoon
is
Spear
that
into an
is
Avenger.
probably the thing that Stony wanted to see more than anything up here.
Yeah.
That is a great find.
Yeah, Dragoon Spear into an Avenger against the plague pretty much says, I don't care that you're casting Count on me. So Tybalt's taking the Siren here because he can? Question mark?
Yep, it's Tybalt. He's on the restream, so we're gonna see pink puffs if we can see him. So stay true to thyself.
Charm arrows going up on Rosa. The certifies our ribbon room fight.
Yep, it gets the rune axe on Kane. That's gonna go a long way in helping the melee damage.
We didn't get our wall up yet. We decided to we're doing double star veils instead.
I believe the Star Veil does last a little bit longer than the standard the wall cast, so I can understand that.
Yeah, I did not grind there for Adam's Vanilla. If I saw anything that looked like a pink puff, whether it was Flan or a pink puff or whatever it happened to be, I ran.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
I didn't even know that was in the vanilla game.
Alright, so Tybalt choosing the Crystal Sword Altar, which is interesting. I thought with the routing that would have been the one that was actually faded.
Yeah, I guess looking at that ribbon room might be trying to avoid the ribbon room or the Masamune altar just because they're a little bit tougher fights. Well, there's the plague, so
There's, yep. Avoid it like the plague.
I don't. I think should be okay once he starts getting once he gets that berserk cast off. And yes, Tybalt did get the item screen, did get an elixir and ether too, but not the adamant armor.
Zeus gauntlets and a glass hat. Could definitely be worse things.
Yeah, the Zeus gauntlets are the big prize. Those will go on Kane and help him with the Avenger. But yeah.
Given our flag set, there are definitely worse things to pick up.
Yeah. Tybalt's going to care probably a little bit less about those than Stony will, because Stony's definitely going to be relying a lot more on his melee attackers.
Is it safe to say that Tybalt taking that Pink Puffs fight may cost him the run?
It's a possibility, but it's.
I mean, it's all for memes. It's all for fun.
It's all for fun.
Honestly,
the community. Yeah, the community clubs are about having a good time and playing the game and just it's all for fun. There's no stakes here other than bragging rights, so nothing really lost by that.
What? Did Stony just
Lugier on Stony's side?
Yeah, but because he just switched up before he goes in because he didn't take the Avenger off. Yes, Luge is at the Masamune altar. Dr. Dialogue.
Yes. A little bit slower fight. This is not great for Stony because I don't think Stony has nuke just yet, and he's only going to get, I think, a third of the experience that he normally would be getting at this spot.
Ouch, not me.
So this is not ideal for Stony. That may, depending on what is that.
Octomom down pretty quickly on Tybalt's side.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Tybalt's party has got to be in the 60s.
It's gotta be close. And there goes the first half of the Luge fight. Now for the real fight.
Yeah, so Tybalt entering in the ribbon room for his final fight. At the same time, Stony is ending his. They're going through the last phase of his final fight, or their final fight. So
That poison is going to be. If he doesn't get the heal off, well, first off, Berserk's not going to work because of the poison. What I was going to say before that was that poison's going to be a problem for Stony if he tries to go and swag walk this. Because he's going to have to heal all 5 party members. Unless, yeah, I was going to say if he kills Luge fast enough.
well, you'd get the free heal before.
Does
You
that
get the free
heal
heal before the
poison as well?
Zeromus fight. So you just get to hear the song of our song of our people and the poison walk noise and enjoy that shiny crystal. Look at that shiny crystal to use.
Leaving your inventory, taking up space.
So Stony has their crystal. Tybalt about to get their crystal.
Oh, this is close. This is close.
Did you catch the levels on Stony's party?
50, 50, 50, 49, and 53, I think.
That is not nuke. That is not
No,
nuke.
that is not nuke. No.
So that is going to slow down the Zeromus fight for Stony quite a bit.
And then you've got, yeah, 64, 65, 66, 66, 67 on Tybalt's site. I don't think
Yeah,
I've seen levels like that in a while.
yeah, no, that's the fun part about it going about the vanilla giant with the D machine grind. Um, Even without the top end gear that this flag set was holding out, even then they ended up with a defense sword, an Avenger, and in Stony's case, a Murasame. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're walking up towards the end of the Lunar subterranean here. What does that mean?
I have the foggiest idea.
Oh, yeah? Well, I
Would
can
you
tell
like?
you that we normally, randomize the bosses, the key items, the treasures, the characters, but we don't randomize Zeramus. So what do we do instead? We have sprites that are randomized. A couple hundred that are put forth by our wonderful community at Free Enterprise. So it's become a tradition for us to ask when we face Zeramus, whose butt are we kicking tonight?
Is it cute? Is it scary? Does it pay taxes? My personal favorite. Will we have to create one first to kick it? We'll find out in just a few moments.
I'm curious to see whether it wears a hat or not. Does it wear a hat?
So yeah, both these runners entering the Z fight at approximately the same time. Um, there's the crystal throw for both runner, before Stony. Tybalt just about to do the same.
Tell you what, I don't envy Beauty's job here and stopping the clock between these two runners.
Yeah, we have a plethora of butts.
We do.
Those are the Prinnies from the Disgaea series.
We'll shake, rattle, and roll on the right side. Tybalt using the nuke to set that one off.
Stony getting the Silk Web cast up. Slow this fight down.
This Ari arrow is going to do some work on Stony's side.
Yeah, it does look like Tybalt is going to be relying on those magic casts. Doesn't have Kane, didn't use the Avenger on Kane, just letting Kane be the base to reflect those nukes off of. Edge is going to chip in with some darts.
Star Veil on Palom on Stony's side. Dragoon Spear coming out as the dart. Yeah, that road has been out for 2,500 a spot, so
Yeah, no, Stony gonna be relying, not getting that top end magic, those top end magic attacks. So rightfully, I think taking the relying more on the melee than Tybalt is, but Tybalt just gonna be blasting Dudamus here with those magic with those reflected spells.
that just feels bad when you see the reflected nuke from Fu only hitting for 2,800. That just feels
that
bad.
curse string doing its job in more ways than one.
So white doing 8,400. Well, that's 4,500 on Stony's side.
Yeah,
This
I'm
will
pretty
be
sure
closer than we
Stony
think
put
it's
one of
going
the
to
white
be.
shirts on Fu.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking to see the spell name hang up on Tybalt's side with these reflected spells. We'll see Stony could be either one with all the melee attacks. There's the hang up, there's the crack, there's the crumble. Tybalt takes down Dudamus.
Wow. Well, sorry, Mary Post, but Rexel Game Rat's not playing. I appreciate you wanting me to win, but you know what? We're all winners for having noticed.
You at least had you at least had the fan favorite support over
Yes.
me, so we got that
Yes. This is going to be within a minute, I would imagine. It's going to be pretty darn close. Considering Stony had to go back and route back down to get Fey March. Welcome, Tybalt.
We are joined by our winner, Tybalt. GG.
GG.
GG, Tybalt. How was it, sir?
I tried. I got 2 drops.
Yeah. You get the pink buffs teased you, but didn't actually give you the admin armor, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know. I was. I heard the music continue on. I'm like, oh, and then I see 2 drops. I'm like, are you? Maybe next time. Maybe next time.
You have elixirs for the next seed.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case.
I could not find the life potions to save my life.
Yeah, I all that. I'm like, he's having to check every single shop in the blue plane. It's gonna be the last one he checks.
Because it was Agar. Because nobody ever goes to Agar.
Yeah. If you're not using the magnet key, there's no reason to go there. So, but well done. So, the decision to fade Evelyn Castle actually ended up not hurting you because you found a cursed ring, and what was the other thing, Rowdy, that was in the castle?
Dwarf axe.
The dwarf axe. The dwarf axe and the cursed ring. You found the shop, so that was the only things of value inside Evelyn Castle.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing early on with doing like Evelyn Castle, like you have Fu, you start off with an arty bow, like okay, you can get through most fights. at that point, I almost wanted someone that could wield like a dancing dagger. So I was looking for the palm, maybe the cane, and find a dancing dagger and just start blitzing through the early game with that, hoping to finally get Fu fully powered
Hmm.
without having to go down the hook route.
Yeah, seeing the required hook route with the required meta objective was not ideal.
So it's like
Um,
the reason why I kept taking on those mad ogres there in the Evelyn was I wanted virus on Palom. I
yeah.
know I needed some AoE seeing that mom bomb there.
So how excited were you to see that there was a vanilla giant flag on when you saw the D-Lunars on the giant?
I wasn't too happy, to say the least. But I mean, I knew like there's a couple different grind options I had. I didn't know if I was going to get enough experience on the moon to get the nukes and lights, and as well, I didn't have a lot of stat boosting gear. I mean, yeah, I stole Fu's Sork Robe. I had the Triton Dagger. But at that point, like I could have traded those back over to Fu, and then actually had Fu do more damage, which I forgot to do. But Pal was throwing Niner, so I didn't care.
The path was almost identical on the moon, and when you went to start the Z fight, it was almost to the second you guys started the Z fight. It was
Okay.
that close. The D money grind for you actually
Went
had
sideways.
Stony. Well, yeah. Well, the Stony ended up having to go. He went to Zot first before he ended up getting the harp from Feymarch.
Oh.
So he had the Baron key, which took him to Zot first. So he had to go back down to Feymarch. So that's where you guys kept in sync because the time you spent doing your grind, he was making other checks.
Okay. I was sitting there going, it's like the only way that I'm actually if in my head is if that it's that Baron Key to Earth Crystal to Rat Tail to Pink Tail chain. So I found that harp, I'm like, all right, I'll check it, and then here's darkness. Cool, let's go.
Yeah. That the top of the towers what gave away that rat tail. So you fading that, I was like, well, this is gonna be interesting because either Zot's gonna give him the crystal or the Twin Harp's gonna give him the crystal, the darkness crystal. And yeah, lo and behold, that time spent on the grind. What were we at, like level 67 or 68 by the time you finished the Z fight?
Yeah, 60s. I don't know. I didn't save before going to see. Like the last time I saved was before Plague. Because I knew I had to make up some time, so I'm not going back to save. Let's just go.
Yep.
Man, I was in the 60s.
I wanted to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about that decision to do the half tower and fade the top of Lower Babel. Was that a decision you walked into? You'd planned on when you got to the underground, or was that
Yeah,
just,
that was just, like I saw the Ruby there. I didn't exactly. It was either Ruby or Elements, and I really didn't have a way to fight Ruby at that time. So doing the half tower play was an extra boss to get Fu fully powered before doing Dwarf. Therefore, I could at least do the warp glitch with Fu without Palom, getting to 29 to learn it. I never thought about doing the top of tower until I needed to, because I saw the Ruby. I'm like, not right now. I want Nuke with Fu. I don't have an Ice Brand. I don't have Ice Claws. I got nothing good for him. So you can stay up there. I'll go elsewhere.
So how did you feel? Obviously this was a decision made that the required objective, meaning not using food at the beginning until he was online. Uh, Obviously having the arty bow
Yeah, that was
at the
huge.
beginning was huge. So did you have to make a conscious effort numerous times not to hit that magic button though?
No.
No. You're like, okay, just let them run. Just go.
Yeah, yeah. He got some early spells early on. He got some nice, level 2 spells. But those like the ones you usually want to use early on are like Virus or Quake, and he didn't learn those for a while. So I'm just like,
Yeah, okay.
I got Kane with a dancing dagger. I'm good.
Yeah, the pregame, we're saying like, okay, if you don't get anything good out of that archer kit, and you end up with like an Edward as your partner to begin with, this could be hell for the blue planet until you start
But you
picking
had
up
free
some other people.
characters, so I mean, you had character options to you. The only character I didn't. There's one character out there that's either sitting at Baron or Zod, and it's either Rydia, Porum, or Cecil.
Rydia and Cecil were the two that were not in the seed because of distinct 10.
Yeah. So where's the Porum, was it Zod or Baron?
Baron. Oh, Porum was Zod. I'm sorry. No. I got my notes wrong here. It had to be Zod. It was the package, was it?
No, it could have been the package. Yeah, I never checked the package.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the only other character spot we didn't check.
Yeah, that's the package. Yeah, because that was Pella and Id? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no Cecil in the seat, so
Didn't need him.
didn't need him. Well, GG's, Tybalt. Well done for a good run. It ended up being a minute 50-second win over Stony. Well done.
Yeah,
Stony's getting
very-
good.
Yes.
He's getting good. Like, I may be an old veteran, but I mean, I guess I'm more rusty than I thought.
We've
Yep.
seen the two of you in the Baron Heroes Journey Club here on Sundays quite a bit, and both of you are playing very good for Enterprise.
Yeah, I've
Exciting to
always
watch.
loved the hero's journey since they started, and it just goes to show that the hero flag really makes you think, because your anchor is no longer the center slot. You have to think
Yep.
to plan your party order, and yeah, that one's swell for the D money. But anyways,
Well, good
no, it was
deal.
a lot of fun.
Played very well, and it definitely showed off some interesting strats with the D money grind, and then the pink puff, as we expected to see. Excellent. Very well
When
done.
you can't find ethers, succubuses are a good stand-in. Take the MP from your party members.
There you go.
All right.
I was worried though when you did take the pink puff. I know it's the play you always make, but I was worried that it might cost you the race at that point in time. I'm like, this is so close.
I play this to enjoy it,
Oh, I
win,
know that.
lose, or otherwise. Like, if I lose, I'm gonna do it. But it's like, I thought I was gonna lose anyways, because I just felt so far behind. I felt miles behind.
It actually gave us a great opportunity to tell the audience how much this community loves to just play and have fun and enjoy it. It gave us a great opportunity to do that. So
They got both songs too. There's actually 3 in there for the Pink Puffs.
mm-hmm.
But I'll let Stoney get in here for the interview. Thanks for the restream. Thanks for commentating. I always enjoy watching these back. So have a good one.
There we go. Well,
Bye.
GG, sir.
GG Tybalt, congratulations.
All right, Roddy, what kind of closing remarks you got?
Yeah, Stoney has decided not to do an interview today, which totally understandable. After 2 hours, it's pretty tiring. But GG's to them. And again, congratulations to our winner Tybalt. But yeah, this was a fun one. That Darkness Crystal was behind a very ugly fight, and Tybalt made the right call, and that just happened to be that coin flip that did it.
Yeah, just goes to show you that sometimes you'll make the right choice, sometimes you make the wrong choice, but in reality, there's not a wrong choice. There's lucky choice and unlucky choice.
Yeah, exactly. The old saying, "Rando gonna rando."
Yes, exactly. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, the Baron Heroes Journey it's definitely one of the more advanced flag sets that we have in the community. For those out there watching, if you aren't involved with the Free Empires community, by all means, please join our Discord today. If you use the FE Discord flag command, I believe it is. Maybe I'll put it up there in a second. Join the Discord today. Big community, very, very helpful community. There it is. Join, hop in, say hi. Don't be shy. We got a lot of people there that are willing to help out, get you involved to get you learning. A lot of different clubs that take the flag sets that the randomized offers and gives a different take on how to play the game. And it's just a lot of fun. So it's a lot of fun. It's a friendly camaraderie. It's really a family. So join today. Stop in, say hi, and just get your feet wet. Enjoy yourself.
So that does it for us here to this afternoon here on the Baron Heroes Journey. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to be raiding out to Drinks Glue, so please feel free to join us along there. Rex, always a pleasure to be commentating with you as always. Thank you to
Absolutely, it was a lot of
Narrowcat
fun.
for tracking and Beauty and Discovery. Thank you for restreaming.
All right, you guys have a great afternoon.